I'd like to start by asking you guys a question. What were you doing 20 years ago? 20 years ago, I was a local Colorado kid dreaming of becoming Miss America. And while I fiercely pursued those dreams, I was also a kid growing up, and I made some bad decisions along the way. Please tell me I'm not alone up here on that. And I was fortunate enough that my bad decisions didn't end up defining me. And I went on to become Miss Colorado. I think there's something really powerful about childhood dreams. And I've been talking to some friends of mine recently about them. This is my friend Rydell. Here he is with his two brothers. He grew up in Denver. He's also a local Colorado kid like me. And I asked him 20 years ago, what were you dreaming of? He said he wanted to start his own record label. You see, Rydell is extremely musically talented. He wishes he could be here tonight, and I do too, because he'd probably be a lot more entertaining of a speaker. The unfortunate thing is, Rydell's bad decisions did stick with him. And sadly, over 2 decades later, he's still in prison. So, how does Miss Colorado end up in prison? Our organization is committed to breaking the cycle of mass incarceration. We provide, thank you. We provide entrepreneurial education and character development to people who are currently incarcerated. I want you to meet some more of my friends. This is Mario. This is Joy. This is Jonathan. They're some of my favorite people, and you guys have to meet Abe. Abe taught himself engineering. I can barely do an algebra problem. He has a patent for a rapid deploy flood mitigation system. Abe could save thousands of lives. But unfortunately, Abe is still defined by bad decisions in his past. So I've learned something really, really important over this period of time of working with these amazing individuals. That they've committed to living a values-driven life, and that they take full accountability for their past. That they want to leave the community better than they left it. But is that enough? We have a huge problem in this country. And that problem might be you. It might be all of us. Over 600,000 people are released into society after serving their time. And we don't know how to welcome them back. Would you hire someone with a murder charge? Someone who once led a gang and ran drugs? There's a lot of people who won't. Studies show that 27% of people with criminal histories who are seeking employment are unable to find it. Some of my best friends, some of those people I just showed you, have charges like that. And if I can get over their history and choose to see them for who they are now, I think you can too. A study out of Johns Hopkins Hospital actually found that once people with criminal histories do find employment, they have lower turnover rates than people with no record at all. So when I go into prison, I take huge groups of mentors, just like you, with me. When you walk into prison, you're greeted with a view kind of like this. Our mentors coach the people in our program on resumes and cover letters, on their business idea, on marketing strategy and customer acquisition. And we also do this really important empathy building exercise. This activity changed my life, and I think it might be the beginning of the solution to our problem. So I'd like to invite you guys to do this activity with me right now. We're going to have to use our imaginations because we're not in a prison, but we're going to do our best. So I'm going to start by reading a series of statements. And every time I read a statement, I simply want you to note if that statement's true for you or not. I'm going to use a picture of my friends to help us out. And every time a statement is true for them, you'll see a check appear on the screen. Okay, are you ready? My parents paid for me to attend private school or college. I have been needlessly stopped or questioned by the police. Nearly every night, one of my parents tucked me into bed and told me I was loved. I heard gunshots in my neighborhood. I experienced the effects of drug or alcohol addiction in my family. Violence took place in my home. By the age of 18, the way I was living, I didn't think I would survive to age 21. I did something really, really stupid before I was 23. Take a second, reflect. What did you have in common? What was different? Can you see how some of those statements make it more likely for you to be in this audience today? And how some of the statements make it more likely for you to be in this picture? If violence took place in your home, or you heard gunshots in your neighborhood, chances are at a young age, you feared for your life. If you had parents who paid for you to attend private school or college, chances are you had other financial opportunities in life. If you've been needlessly stopped or questioned by the police, chances are you experienced discrimination in other ways. You see where I'm going? If you did something really, really stupid before you were 23, chances are you were a teenager. Do you remember being a teenager? Maybe it was trespassing or shoplifting. Maybe it was using illegal drugs or getting into a fight. And the truth is, most of the people in this photo were first introduced to the criminal justice system before the age of 23, having one of those charges. In fact, 30% of Americans aged 23 years or younger have a criminal history. As soon as we start to see people with criminal histories as fathers, mothers, as sisters and brothers, as husbands and wives, as soon as we start to embrace them as our friends, we can have empathy for their whole story and see them for who they are now. So we started out by looking back 20 years. And I'd now like to invite you to look forward 20 years. Who do you want to be? And who do you want to take on that journey with you? Will you do something big and hire someone with a criminal history? Will you do something small and go to coffee with someone who was just released? How will you be part of someone's redemption story? And I don't care if you choose to do something big or something small. All I ask is that we all choose to do something and break the cycle of mass incarceration and build a loving community in which all people feel that they belong. Thank you.